Welcome to class. This is a magneto, apparently. Now, this is where I've got primary winding, secondary winding. Our magnety bit spins around the outside, spins around those, inducing a voltage. We've got a voltage takeoff for all our stuff and things inside the bike, and then we're also inducing a voltage in the secondary coil. And then every time our contact breaker points open, that voltage is excited and then sent to our spark plug. Now, where did we get to last time? This thing, last time, it's probably the same video actually, I don't know. That's dead. I've got a mega high resistance across that. So I've thrown that away and I've attached a normal end and then I've also sorted out the spark plug because that had a weird tip, and again I think that wasn't a good circuit. For this, my soldering iron has broken, but I do get a low resistance on the primary winding, and I get a variable resistance on that, but that's because I've still got the capacitor attached, I think this is all correct. But I'm not getting a short. That should be a high resistance, that should be a low resistance basically. I think it's 0 to 100, and that should be over, so we should be in the K ohms for that. I think on the last bit of the video I was saying I was getting a dead short with that open. Now if I disconnect that coil, so if I disconnect the cables there, it does go open circuit when it opens. So I think they're working as well, and I can't see any damage on that sort of ceramic thing there. I've also cleaned them up again and they look really good. We've measured across them with a multimeter and there's no resistance. When it's shut, it's dead short. So short of going to get a soldering iron, take that off and actually measure that correctly, and then try and measure the capacitance of the condenser, because I tried to measure it body to that point and I don't get anything. So that might be dead, but again we can't really test it without soldering iron. But in lieu of that, I thought we might as well actually just put it back together and see what we get. Because it's not difficult. So I'm going to sleeve those again. We'll put it all back together. And let's see if we get any sparks. Okay, I thought it best we get rid of the Makita starter motor because I feel like I'm going to break something with that. Now this is the starter motor. Those of you with lawns will probably recognise this. And this actually requires slightly different maintenance to a modern starter motor. So every now and again you do have to give it a haircut, it seems. I've never had to give a starter motor a haircut before. Ow! But you know, it's a different technology, isn't it? Is this like an old version of a Start You Bastard 3000? Or no, Lone Wolf 3000, isn't it? There we go. I mean, it does sort of work-ish. But we should probably try and give it a bit of a scrub. It actually has a grease nipple. I would attack it with the drill, but I don't really. Can you teeth with that? I could attack it with the drill, but I would probably rather not cover my entire self and the building in all of this. I could really do with a parts washer. Ah! Get out of it! Get out of it! Because that would probably shine up really well, wouldn't it? Ugh. Lovely. Did we have smallpox back then? Can I get smallpox from this? Right. It's always worth it with these old grease nipples, just pushing in the little circ. Has anyone ever bought a working grease gun? No, of course you haven't. They don't exist. Ah! I think something came out. Ah, feels right, doesn't it? We're probably going to want some kind of handle and to get rid of this extremely spiky bit on the end. I mean, they tied a knot in it. It's not going to disappear back inside, is it? Ah, no, it is. Oh dear. No. I can show you how it works at least. Look, so when you pull it with the cable that's now in there, they come out like that. Then grab onto those teeth. And surprisingly, it all works. I sort of wanted the grease gun to push all the old grease out, but... Oh, we're going to have to take it apart. Fine. Fine. So that goes between that and that. Yeah. So that will go between that, that and that. Something like that. And then hopefully there we go. Don't judge me, I told you. If it starts, it can have a nice handle. We've got those electrics in. We don't need those, that's just the kill switch and lights. Ladybug! Aww. Should we call it Ladybug if it works? I didn't say that. Okay. Now is a moment of truth. So keep an eye on... Oh my god! I don't know what that noise is. Where is it? Do you see it? There's a spark! Good god, this might actually work! I don't know what that horrible noise is, it's something to do with the starter motor. But as long as it's catching, that's fine. Holy shit, it actually works. No, I didn't. Let's see if the spark plug works. Ow, it works! Fuck! Fuck, that hurt. Oh my god, the spark plug works. This is all getting a bit too much now, isn't it? Let's pop this really weird... Oh no! I need to take the starter motor off to do the spark plug off. Piss! I'll do that and then I will show you its cute little carburettor. Now look at this little darling. Oh, it's so sweet, isn't it? It's a Bing for 14.1, I think. And that should literally just push onto there. And then you lift up that screw. I say, why can't all carbs be like that? But then we probably want more than like 2 horsepower, don't we? There we go. So that's a carburetor. We haven't got a throttle, so that is a bit stuck. So now we need some fuel. Maybe it's all getting a bit scary. Right, fuel. We could even hang it off like the little baggage thing, couldn't we? I've mixed up some 2-stroke. It's not actually 2-stroke, it's SAE 50, but... Nope, splash. Oh, that looks... Oh, that's filling the float bowl. Okay, chokes on. Oh, it smells like burning 2-stroke oil. There's some smoke.
There must be fire somewhere then.
Yeah. And it's taking fuel.
It's got to leak something. Maybe short the garage.
It's leaking a little bit, but it's fine. What's like this? Yeah. I'll call you back. Ah, right. We have a little leak. There was smoke though. Is there smoke without fire? Is that how that works? So this is our tiny little McCuney, I was about to say. It's not McCuney, it's a Bing. So that's essentially our choke. So lift it up, cold start, and as soon as you accelerate, it gets rid of it. We then have our bowl, so our float, you know, obviously, our float does indeed float, which is good. I'm wondering if our needle and seat is actually sealing though. So basically our float pushes up on that. And it's moving. Get a bit of pipe. So that's working. That float bowl gasket looks very suspect though. So a quick look at the main jet, because there really is nothing to these carbs at all. It's been massacred slightly. That actually could be blocked. I don't know. I don't think it is, but yeah, so that's nice and clear. So So that should... So I can see fuel in there. So this works similarly to an SU, where we've got... It's going to be quite hard to see. It's just undamped. So we pull our sort of needle out of that kind of a emulsion tube, I think is the right word. And as the airflow comes across, it pulls the petrol paper through. We do have all we have is an idle jet, so that's half a turn out at the moment. Okay, let's pop that back on and let's just see. Because that's sealing, so let's take a look. Whoa! We're getting spark. Well, that's knackering. I probably look terrible. So, could be timing. There is some adjustment on the mag. Very small amount, sort of back and forth. We could try that. Clean the plug. And then go again. I mean, it's getting fuel. It's just annoying. You have to take the casing off to get the bloody plug out. So it might just be flooded. And we can see there's quite a lot of fuel coming out of one side. So I think I'm going to clean the plug and then we'll go again.
It's so sweaty.
Huh?
So sweaty.
Well, it's two-stroke.
I don't think that helps.
I am a starter motor.
I don't think that helps.
I'll just put the drill back on it.
Oh, look.
No, I might damage something with that. I was worried I was going to break something. Well, that didn't work, did it? I have a very large right arm. And that's nothing to do with what you think it's to do with this. And it still hasn't started. Carb's flooding, because there's definitely too much fuel coming out the exhaust. And that fuel should be on fire, shouldn't it? It should be on fire inside it, internally combusting, not externally lubricating. So carb, that's probably one thing. I'm not sure my fuel tank is that helpful, because sometimes it probably ran out of fuel as well. So that, and then timing. But it's never going to run with too much fuel. But what I'd like to do first is put a wheel on it. So walk this way, come with me. This is a wheel. A easy tiger. I'd love to know how old it is. It hasn't got a date code, but it's definitely the old. It's definitely the old Michelin script, and it was made in France. Just attach my wheel thing. What I was missing was this. I don't know if this is the right one. This is just A1 from VDO, but I don't know who made the Speedo. Don't know. DKW didn't make the Speedo, but this is it. This is just very basic. If you look, that just slots in there, and as the wheel spins round, the studs stay where they should. But I just want to show you as well how fantastically basic this all is. So that's the sort of brake post. Obviously that stays rigid because it's stays still because that locates into the fork. And the little wheel bearings in there, that just pushes straight through. No, I don't have any idea where on earth I'm going to find a pair of brake shoes, but I'm sure someone has them. So, there we are. This is the reason I couldn't fit it, because that was obviously, this acts as a spacer at the same time. And you can see, I'm guessing the cable was probably rubbing at some point. This isn't the wheel from that bike, obviously, because it's in okay condition, and the rear one looks like it's about to fall to pieces. So, we're going to try and pop the front wheel on, because that'll make my life generally easier. I mean, that's about as on as I can get it at the moment. As you can see, that doesn't seem about right, but also, if I do up this side more, the tyre's too far this way in the mud flap, and it grazes. So, might need some fine adjustment. I've seen lots of pictures. This wheel looks like the hub's finned, so I don't even know if it's the right wheel, if I'm honest. But, for the first time in a long time, it's sitting on two wheels. But now, I want to look at the carburettor. Or car potato. Much like a potato, it supplies fuel. So this is a Bing 4141, and what those numbers mean is been lost to ancient times. 4 is bigger than 3, and 14, I know that one, that's the size of this, the size of the throttle, and 1, well, there's one of it. It's a really basic thing. In the UK, you'll probably notice, I mean, it's used on loads of mopeds, but the Push Maxi used, I think, this size, maybe. But we have a sort of throttle, choke even, and enrichener there, which comes up when you do full throttle. That's our throttle. On the Push, you have the cable going straight in rather than this funny like right angle attachment. Fuel in. This is our idle screw. Now I've been reading the Push Maxi website, and this was set way too rich. So, like a lot of carb things, 1.5 turns is a standard setting, and we were set at half, so that's no good. That's one thing, but also we kept flooding. So we want to look at the float bowl. We don't want to look at the float bowl. We want to look at the float setting. And, I mean, I tested it a couple of times. The needle valve wasn't sticking, but obviously it was sticking as well, randomly. That's why we were getting fuel pouring out of that join there. Because, yeah, there is a gasket, but also the fuel shouldn't get that high. So, okay. Let's start with the float. So this is where the fuel comes in here. It drops down into our float chamber. What can I do with the fuel? And on this, it's actually slightly different. So you can see it's all nice and clean in there. The lovely chap, thank you Mark if you're watching, who sold it to me did go through the carb, but I sort of want to know how it works. On the Push ones, we know that, or on the Push ones, on the pictures on Push Shop website, this is actually attached to the float. So the sort of adjustment arm is one and the same. But what happens is this floats. I have already tested. We'll test that in a minute. I did test it earlier, but and then as that pushes this little thing up, the needle just got stuck. This is our little arm that the float pushes on, and then behind this is the needle valve. Can you see that in there? Just there. Now, what happens is when this is up, so when the float's pushing that up, it stops the fuel supply, which is obviously just by gravity. Now, if on occasion that does stick, which it definitely is, every now and again, that comes all the way up, it just keeps going. Well, basically that sits down and it keeps going. So, we need to have a look at that. There we go. So there we go. Right. So there's our needle valve. Like I said, this basically acts upon that. So as this comes up, it pushes that up. That then pushes our needle up, and it seals into the bottom of the carb. So you see the little pin there? That seals into a facing in there. There's not a lot to this. Now, we want to get our main jet out. There we go. Or our sort of needle shaft. So this is what acts upon, as that needle, which is tapered, goes up and down, it comes up and down inside this needle sleeve, which is a 217. So that's where one of our sized parts. And then I believe, I did think in the bottom of this, is that a separate? No. No, it's a one piece. I didn't know if that was a separate sort of jet in the bottom, but so that is sort of what governs the amount of fuel going in, that and the matched needle in there. Can you see that? So a tapered needle comes up, fuel is drawn through this, out of the float bowl, through this and into your engine. Now let's pop out the idle screw. I'm thinking there will be a spring behind this. Yep. And again, carburetors are very basic. They're also rubbish. That's why we invented fuel injection, but you know, don't tell some people that, they'll think it's witchcraft. That, again, we've got basically a needle face which acts upon... Ooh. This is actually really basic. So that needle end there, for our idle air adjustment, all it does is push open the slide slightly more. Which is why I don't want it too far. It's nice, isn't it? Okay, so that is our idle. That is all of that. It's all very clean because Mark is a lovely person and told me he'd cleaned all of it. Now, I don't know if we can just undo these two screws on the top and withdraw everything sort of as is. So again, I'll expect, there we go. Right, so you can actually see, I don't know if it'll focus very well. Do you see the thread in the bottom of the large hole? That's where our idle screw goes and pushes up the bottom of this. This is a wonderfully simple carb. So you can see basically our spring there that's giving us our throttle return. Oh, that was important. That's our choke, which was acting on that. I want to see how it resets. Ah, it'll be that little arm there. Yeah, there we go. So that gets caught in there, and when that resets, it pops back. As you go full throttle, it then pulls it back down again. Let's attempt to not lose that. Right, there we are. So I'm just going to not push on the needle. There we go. Oh, I could have left that on. This is so basic. So that base, there's a large hole and a small hole, and that just sits there and drops through there. Easy. Right, let's pop our slide there. This little washer sits on top. And there's our needle. So that little washer goes on top. So right, there's our needle, and I can show you even better how that works. So do you see the taper on there? It's quite dirty actually. Yeah, so that's our sealed, not sealed, so more fuel. Ah, all the power. Sorry. It's a finely honed racing machine. Now this is interesting. This needle clip here has several settings. So the higher this needle clip is, the more fuel it gets. So we're only on setting 2 of 4. We'll say that's enough. We don't want this thing to get too powerful now, do we? And that is all the moving parts. The only thing we'll do is just pop this off. So I don't know if there's a little mesh filter in there. I don't see why it would be dirty, but filters on the petrol intake. This doesn't seem to at all. So we can just see a little tiny orifice in there, and that's what's sealed by our, where have you gone? Float needle there. Okay, we have some bits. I got them from Push Shop. So Danke, Push Shop, and this is it. That, yep, that's what it says. And I think I said before, these are for a Push Maxi. I should also say that their Push Shop were amazing. I think it was, it wasn't expensive, like 12 quid or whatever, plus postage. 2 days postage though. 2 days! So we can't use the lid, for obvious reasons. We have a different stuff and things. That's fine. Hopefully they've not, that's what I want. So we're going to want that. Can't use that. So let's see if that new needle setup will just work on the carburettor. What size is that? Who knows? I'll nip that up. Don't look internet. It's a test. So I'm just going to hold the needle there and did you hear that? Oh no! A disaster has happened.
You blew it out?
It blew it out. My mouth wind was too much. So,
I don't think you meant to make squeaking noise.
no, I'm tuning the carburettor. That's what tuning the carb means.
Not whistling.
Yeah, C sharp. For this application, it's C sharp. If you use it in a different bike, you have to tune it to like F, for example. That's what tuning a carb means. Noob.
No one believes.
So that seals. So now, whilst we zoom through a little montage of rebuilding the carburettor using all the service parts from the Push Shop kit, I don't suppose I could just ask you to tap the little subscribe button, like, and maybe even leave a comment if you're enjoying this. That would be very much appreciated. Thank you very much. Enjoy. time has passed. I want to get on with that. And that, because I haven't ridden a bike in ages since I sold the Aprilia. So we need to get that running, at least. Then I need to wait for some other stuff. So why won't it run? Now, we all know about ignition timing, yeah? It's when your spark happens as everything else happens. So your cylinder comes up, gets to a point, usually before or after top dead centre being the highest point of travel of the cylinder of the piston inside the cylinder. Now, normal machines, 4 strokes, it's a amount of degrees. So like, obviously, if you imagine your crankshaft spinning, 360 degrees. So you might say like 10 degrees before top dead centre. So 10, that's your top dead centre mark, the thing's spinning, 10 degrees before is when the spark goes, and it goes pop. 2 strokes different, apparently. Because if I was to read all this, because I'd never played with 2 strokes before, it's a distance. And that's what I've got set up now. So come this way, and we will see. This is the setup. We have a dial gauge down the bore, which is sitting on the top of the cylinder. So as this comes up, this measures where top dead centre is. Now this is the most accurate way of actually measuring where top dead centre is anyway, but we're also going to use this to measure our timing. In the manual for a 2-stroke, the timing is shown as a distance. So in this case, it's a tenth, 0.102 of an inch to 0.110. Into proper measurements, that's 2.59 mil to 2.79 mil. So if you just look on here till we get to top dead centre, there you go. Now there will always be a little moment of hang, which is called the dwell, so there, and that is top dead centre, the highest point of travel. Then on a 2-stroke we measure the distance forward or back from that of what we need. This is 2.6 mil, for example, before top dead centre. So what we're going to do is go backwards 1, 2, 3 mil. The reason we go backwards more and then go forwards is it removes any sort of kind of dwell in the crankshaft, which there isn't actually on this. If you go either way, you still get that same mark. So now we're going to go forwards 0.4, and that should be the point at which our points start to open. Now this doesn't have a battery. Usually what you'd use to get a battery is you'd connect across your normal coil on the positive and minus, you'd connect a light bulb from positive to the negative of the coil, and then you can either switch off or on, but as the points open that will change state. It will open or shut. You can also use a buzz box which makes a noise, the battery in it, and it changes, or a meter. But I can't really work out on this one how to do it accurately that way, because if I remove this cover, you lose the points, because inside there, this housing here is the cam which opens and closes the points. So if I take that off to actually get something on there, I can't adjust them because the points aren't open anymore. Good, right? So we're going to have a go at doing it with eyes. We're miles off at the moment, which is why it isn't running. You see, I did try and see if this would light up, which does work. This is just one of those little lights. That does work if it's turning over quickly, which obviously is not very good when trying to measure 2.6 millimeters from something. You can't do that quickly. So I'm gonna have a muck about with that. Oh God! Basically, the little holes there are big enough to get a screwdriver through and adjust the timing, but they're not big enough to really measure anything. So I'm gonna muck about with that, and then we'll see if we can make it run. Dejection. I found the problem. We have a constantly variable timing. So the issue is we should have, so this was all set up nicely, look. So you can see as we go up and down. Whee! Look at that. It was miles off, and I thought, here we go, right? This is good. No, it's not good. I've tried to dig out the remains of it now, but basically the woodruff key, which goes in the end of the crank's snout, had disappeared, had eaten itself. Now I don't think there's anything to do with turning it over the drill, because turning it over on the nut is attached to the crankshaft. I can only think that it happened when we were pulling it with the pull start, because the pull start obviously acts on the teeth there, and you can see the woodruff key's notch. So sadly the woodruff key would not come out. I mean, you could only just about see an outline of it, but yeah, not good at all. It means this won't be running, which then opens up other possibilities. What do we do with it? I think really it was so stuck in there. I don't know if I can get another woodruff key in there. I might have to take it out and actually mill the hole back out for the right size key. But I think that's where we might have to end this one. Oh. Yeah, irritating, very irritating, but you know, that's the way these things go. Any thoughts? Pop them in the comments. We'll have a little think about what to do. See you later. Like, subscribe, all that stuff, you know.